What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus for you. Yesterday I gave my 2017 AFC playoff predictions. I went game by game, and I discussed each seed in the playoffs, each team and how they're looking, each potential first round matchup, and going forward how I predicted the playoffs in the AFC to go. And that ended. You guys should go check out the video. Go back and click on it. So I won't tell you guys who I think won all those games. But I wanted to also do the NFC as well. I've been a diehard NFL journalist and fan for years and years now. Been covering the sport for about 7 years. Been watching the sport for over 20 years. And so I wanted to give my 2017 NFC predictions to go along with yesterday's AFC. So again, if you haven't seen the AFC, pause this video. Go check out the AFC predictions. But I want to give you guys my NFC rundown as well. The NFC is a lot tighter than the AFC. It's a lot harder to call. There's no clear-cut winners. There's only one team out of the six that I think is a sure first round out. There's no runaway. How the AFC, you have the top team, and you have like one or two clear contenders beyond that, and that's it. And it's kind of easy to call the first round. And the NFC, every game pretty much is close. There's one game I think is going to be an easy one to call. The rest are pretty much hard. Every other game in the playoffs could be a toss-up. I could be very, very wrong on these. Usually I'm pretty close to right. I could be, pardon me, pretty wrong on these. You have the top seeds. The number one seed is the Cowboys. They've been on fire all year. Best O-line in football. Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best running backs in football in his rookie year. Dak Prescott, pretty much mistake-free until the last few games of the season. He's looked like the second coming as far as quarterbacks go. He's been on fire. The receiving corps has come together. The defense has come together. And although it's not an elite unit, it's a solid unit. And so, but at the same time, there's inexperience there. So as much as you like the Cowboys and how good they've been, not only are they incredibly inexperienced at the skill positions, but the defense has a lot of holes in it still. And they're coming in with, I think, 3 consecutive losses, so they're backing into the playoffs. They've lost momentum. They've lost a lot of the hype around them. So that's going to be interesting. Number 2 seed, the Atlanta Falcons. They've had an elite offense, a top 3 offense, probably most all year long. Matt Ryan is a top 3 MVP candidate, if not higher. He's been on fire all year. Devontae Freeman's been great. Julio Jones, when he's in there, has been great. But they've had some injury issues. And the defense is pretty bad overall. I mean, there's not a standout defense in this playoff situation. Maybe there's one. But the Falcons' defense is really bad, and their offense has been banged up at times. So there's really no surefire run for them in the playoffs either. Then you go down to, you have the Seahawks and the Packers. They're both very good teams. They're both 2 teams that I predicted. They're actually the 2 teams that I predicted originally coming into the season would be in the NFC championship game. But again, with the Seahawks, it's been inconsistency on offense. It's been a lot of injuries. Their secondary's been injured all year. Their linebackers have been up and down this year. And there's been no clear receiving help for Jimmy Graham and at times Doug Baldwin. So the Seahawks have fallen back a few pegs from where they were the last couple of years. The Packers also, same thing. Elite offense, great team. Aaron Rodgers has been an MVP candidate. But their running backs, they're on their 4th-string running back now, which is their wide receiver. They've had 3 running backs get injured for the season. Same with wide receiver. They've had Randall Cobb been hurt for a while. Jordy Nelson's been hurt for a while. They've been kind of banged up on offense, and their defense is nothing special either. They played a little better in the last stretch, but they're not an elite group, so this team has a ways to go. Then you have the Lions and Giants. The Giants are a good clutch playoff team. They've done 2 runs in the last 10 years to beat Tom Brady twice and win 2 Super Bowl titles. But Eli Manning with his turnovers, the lack of a running game, Rashad Jennings not very good. You have Chekwa, you have Andre, I can't think of the guy's name right now. Anyway, lack of running back depth, inconsistency at receiver outside of Odell Beckham. So you've got a lot of issues there, and the Lions, despite having a good offense with Matthew Stafford, have a really bad defense. And also have lacked a running game for a lot of the season as well. So there's no surefire number 1 team here, and all the teams are very close together. So let's quickly go matchup by matchup and see how I see this playing out. In the first round, you've got Seahawks versus Lions. This one is my easy game. This is the one that I think is the most obvious of all of them. Seahawks defense is the best defensive unit out of the 6 teams in the playoffs. I think they're the best NFC defense. I think the Lions are going to have the most trouble with their pass rush. I think the guys on the outside, the Seahawks corners and safeties, are going to bang up the Lions receivers. I think they're going to shut Stafford down. I think the Seahawks win this one by about 20 or 21 points. This one is my easy lock for the NFC. So Detroit's one and done despite having an awesome offense. Seahawks defense is too much, and Russell Wilson is going to be too much offense for the Lions to keep up with. So I have the Seahawks moving on there. Then we have Packers versus Giants. Again, the Packers are the clear favorite here, but the Giants always pull these 6-seed upset runs. They've done it twice already. And despite Eli Manning being so inconsistent and having a down year, you could see them doing it again. Both defenses are kind of bad, so I could see this being a shootout. I actually have this in like the 34-31 or the 31-28 range. Both teams scoring a lot of points and going back and forth, and the last quarterback to get the ball may win the game. That being said, this being a toss-up, I think the Packers are more consistent overall this year. I think Rodgers is doing better at not turning the ball over than Eli is. I trust Rodgers more than Eli, and I even trust Ty Montgomery in the running game of the Packers more than I trust the Giants. So I'm going Packers here to win this game. So Seahawks over Lions, Packers over Giants. Next round, you've got Seahawks versus Falcons. This round is very, very tough. The next 3 games in the NFC are very tough to call. Seahawks versus Falcons. Matt Ryan has only won, I think, 1 or 2 playoff games in his entire career. I know he won one about 3 years ago. And they've had, again, the elite offense, but it's a case of offense versus defense now. Anytime you've got a great offense against a great defense, I'm going with the defense. And I'm going with the quarterback who's trusted to win more games in the playoffs. Russell Wilson's playoff record and win percentage and clutch percentage is way, way higher than Matt Ryan's, and I trust him a lot more despite having a down year. I also trust Jimmy Graham a lot more than anybody on the Falcons offense, and I also trust the Seahawks defense to corral the Falcons offense enough, despite being a little banged up, to move forward. So I'm going with the Seahawks going to the NFC Championship game, despite being a little, like I said, a few steps backward and a few injuries backward from where they were for the last few years. But I trust the Seahawks to overcome the Falcons offense here and Russell Wilson to get a clutch drive for the win. Who are the Seahawks going to play? Well, we've got Packers versus Cowboys. And this one is probably my hardest one to call of the entire NFC playoffs. This one's really tough. The Cowboys have been a favorite all year again. But again, rookie inexperience in the playoffs here. You can't discount how big of a deal playoff experience is. And they're going against a guy in Aaron Rodgers who's been to NFC title games. He's been to Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl against the Steelers in 2010 maybe. So again, Aaron Rodgers is trusted and known, and the Cowboys' defense is just not very good. That being said, the Packers' defense also is not very good. These teams played head-to-head in kind of a shootout game several weeks ago, and the Cowboys got the big win. I think the same is going to happen here. As much as I want to follow suit to most of the analysts and say the Cowboys are one and done after all this hype and all this run with the new quarterback, I think they have more offensive firepower than the Packers. They can control the ball better with their offensive line. They can trust the run a lot more than the injured Packers can. Ezekiel Elliott can bang the Packers' defense up, wear them down for Dak Prescott to manage the game and be smarter with the ball. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers' offense will score their points. They'll do their thing. But they just look a little off this year. They don't look like the same Packers team in the last couple of years. And I think the Cowboys controlling the clock, controlling the ball, not making mistakes with Ezekiel Elliott, I think they survived this one. In another game that could easily be like a 28-24 or 31-28. So I see the Cowboys getting what I consider maybe an upset here, despite being the number 1 seed, with the rookies, Dak and Elliott. I think this could be considered an upset. But the Cowboys win. So, NFC Championship game here, Seahawks versus Cowboys. I picked the Seahawks to start the season as my NFC playoff pick, my championship pick. My original picks were Seahawks versus Steelers. And believe it or not, despite being 17 weeks later, I'm sticking to that pick. Despite the Seahawks, again, being banged up on offense and being more banged up on defense and looking a little older and Russell Wilson looking a little down and having a lot of controversy at running back and not always having the weapons on offense, having Lockett being hurt and Baldwin being in and out and Graham being inconsistent, I still think that Seahawks defense being the best defense, plus Russell Wilson being the winningest quarterback of this bunch in recent memory, I think those two things play into the Seahawks beating the Cowboys here and going to the Super Bowl. I think, again, you've got to trust the experienced quarterback that's been recently winning in the playoffs, and you've got to trust the defense. And I think those two factors become too much for Dak Prescott. The Seahawk physical play on the outside and banging up in the offensive line is going to keep Prescott off his feet. The Seahawks team is the one team with the rush that can really clog the holes and stop Ezekiel Elliott, and they're the team that can make Dak Prescott try and beat you. And Prescott's pretty darn good. He's an impressive rookie. He's probably a rookie of the year, if not for Ezekiel Elliott. But the Seahawks are gonna cloud that box. They're going to get physical on Elliott, and they're going to make Dak Prescott try and beat them. And I don't think with this stage of the game and this high of a game with this kind of stakes, with this kind of defense at cornerback and safety, I don't think Prescott can beat those guys. So I think in my pick, Seahawks over Cowboys, going to the NFC, or winning the NFC Championship game, going to the Super Bowl, and playing my Pittsburgh Steelers. So my initial prediction to start the season in the preseason was Seahawks versus Steelers. I am taking that prediction and keeping it here, Seahawks versus Steelers. That being said, the title game, the Super Bowl game, I won't really make a prediction, so to speak, on it until the playoffs play out. Then I'll give you guys my Super Bowl pick once Super Bowl week is here, and I'll pick this game as well, even if it doesn't happen, Seahawks versus Steelers. I'll let you know who I think was going to win. But for right now, in the Super Bowl, with my picks, I have Steelers versus Seahawks. So how did I pick the NFC? What do you guys think? Did I pick these games right? How was my analysis? Tell me in the comments down below. Seahawks over Cowboys in the NFC title game. What do you guys think of that? Who do you guys think is going to make an impact and show up and surprise us? Could the Giants make a late run? Could the Falcons' offense be enough to overcome their lack of defense? Could a team like the Packers sneak in and do what they've been doing for years now and be elite again? Could the Cowboys hold true in the regular season and the rookies actually go to the title game? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below. Until then, guys, this has been Jason Burke. I will see you guys in a few weeks for the actual Super Bowl prediction, plus my Super Bowl prediction from what I had here. So, I'll see you guys real soon. Come back later in this week with Wrestling New Year predictions, as well as my Halloween franchise ranking series. So check back on my channel for more horror and wrestling stuff, plus more football. Take care, guys. I'll see you real soon.